One of the most affordable espresso makers on the market just got a little cooler. So in today's video, we'll go over the Wacaco Picopresso. Now, I've talked about this in previous videos, but I've never really done a full review on it. There were some murmurs about upcoming updates that I thought were going to be really unique and really cool that I wanted to hold off on. So I recently I bought all the different updates from both Wacaco as well as from Sworks Design, a third party who makes really precision tools, and they made some for the Picopresso. For those of you unfamiliar with this little machine, it is an espresso maker. Essentially, you have just this little cover on the bottom, for travel purposes. You have this little silicone piece which can help with the stream so it doesn't splatter because the basket's right here. Fitting into the top is a little palm tamp, as well as a funnel for you to put on your basket to put the coffee in so it doesn't spill everywhere. You have on top this kind of silicone piece where the water enters and then it comes out pretty evenly out of all these different holes. And this silicone is actually necessary to make sure you have a nice clean seal with the bottom of this, since you're going to be producing upwards of 9 bar of pressure. Well, if you take this little knob here, you twist it a bit, you release kind of a spring activated pump. So as you sit here and pump, it builds pressure of water pushing out into the coffee itself. And then once you hit pressure, you feel it because of the tension it's building. If you're unable to push it, you're probably over 9 bar, but honestly, you are kind of flying blindly there. Very compact, very light, very easy to use, and makes really nice coffee, especially if you can get to the point of consistency. But that's where we come to these recent upgrades. And we're going to take a look at them and see how much this actually improves this, if this can replace or can be your kind of mainstay at home as well as travel, so you don't need to buy a few machines. The big release that everyone was so excited about is the pressure gauge. So Wacaco made just an easily screw-on pressure gauge for people to actually follow what the pressure is at. And this makes brewing a lot more predictable, a lot more consistent, and a lot more efficient. You simply take the piece that you order and you just screw it on nice and tightly. When you're dialing in and changing your grind size, you're also fluctuating the pressure on here. And so you may not be able to get that sweet spot of espresso, but this is now allowing you to kind of really follow those espresso curves. One of the big issues with the Wacaco is there was no way to kind of set it in order to brew directly into a cup. You had to kind of hold it, and as you're pumping, your hand's moving because it increases resistance, it gets a little bit harder, and it can get a little troublesome. So they introduced this stand. To take it apart, you just kind of pull the pieces off. Boom, and now it's fully disassembled. But because it's like that, whenever you try to move it, you have to grab the base plate, otherwise it will all just kind of crumble into nothing. Putting it back together though is very easy. You just slide this on, put it at the right angle, make sure that everything fits in, make sure everything's right, and there we are. With a shot mirror so you can watch the naked portafilter fill to kind of watch it without having to crane your neck. They added these nice little leather covers, and I thought it was kind of cute, so I decided to pick one up, make it nice and snug. Also went to Sworks' website and I was looking around at different things that they had for the Picopresso. I see a lot of people have switched out for IMSs and different things that fit or compatible with this because the baskets leave a little something to be desired. So in order to improve that, Sworks has offered these highly precision basket and screen combos, which are not cheap, but can really improve the quality overall. He includes a gasket as well to ensure that it will fit inside the Picopresso without any leaks. This is very, very, very important. People who had IMSs and different things, when they used the pressure gauge system, they had to kind of file down the edges in order for it to seal all the way. There are some issues with other baskets being compatible when you use the pressure gauge. Also have this really nice shower screen that you just simply replace the original with. Boom. This is their pancake tamper from Sworks. So as you can see, it's self-leveling. I bought the little filter pack from them. 47.5 millimeter packs that fit in the basket really nicely, right in there, if that's something you want to do. This is their little mat that you can put the Picopresso and the stand on one side. You have this area to put some cups on or to put your tools and different things. So it's kind of a nice little thing. I just thought I'd go ahead and grab it because I was filling my cart with Wacaco, and I don't know, why not? So now we have that. Let's put this all together, let's brew a shot, and let's talk about it. you do want to do one nice preheat, let it sit in there as you're grinding your coffee, everything else, and then dump it out before pulling your shot. But anyway, let's get our grounds into our basket. Now that everything is nice and secured, we're gonna go and open it, we'll dump our water in, and we'll start brewing. So first I like to go quickly to fill it up. There we go, now we're getting pressure. I'm just gonna kind of maintain 2 to 3 bar for just a second. Now I'm gonna go up to right around 9. And we're just gonna kind of pump barely to maintain 9. Now, as you'll see on the pressure gauge, it does kind of oscillate because obviously when we pull out, when we allow the plunge to come out a bit, it's gonna lose that pressure. But then we go down until we're done. Let it drip for a bit. Okay, now I'm gonna swap out. I don't have anything to swap out, so we'll do that. All right, so we pulled 15 grams in, we got 35 grams out. I think it's a really nice thing to be able to buy something that's really low price as an entry into espresso with the capability of improving, so that this is not just a cheap travel espresso machine, but could be your espresso machine at home. The people this would hit are those who are very budget conscious, so someone that wants to have a buy-in with much lower stakes and then they don't have a machine that no longer makes sense once they want to have something better, and for someone who might not worry about the workflow of it as long as they're getting really nice shots. Now what's really cool is this is the same basket size as something like the Streetman, which is an incredibly expensive lever machine that costs about $2,500. Sometimes people fall under this weird fallacy of bigger basket is better, 58 millimeter is better. I actually think deeper puck is better. I prefer a 54 millimeter to a 58, which is why I absolutely love something like the La San Marco group head that's on the ACS Fostic, it's on the Nuri, and a lot of other types of lever machines. When you get to 58, you have a thinner puck, you have a wider area, and it's a bit more difficult to get kind of that texture that I'm really looking for when I'm getting a more traditional style shot while still maintaining the acidity and the balance and the clarity that I really enjoy in my espressos, regardless of style of shot. With this, we're able to get a more modern style using the Swarks basket. Of course, you could go for traditional with the regular basket if you like darker roasted coffees, but this is just an option. The water reservoir in here is not massive. You might be able to pull out like a 40 gram shot, but that would be like kind of pushing it. Maybe 45 if you filled it all the way to the brim. So let's brew another one. We'll talk a little bit more about it and we'll wrap things up. So this time I put back the standard basket and the standard screen, and we're gonna just talk about the difference. I have the same coffee. We're gonna do a similar recipe. Okay. Now we're going to quickly fill the pot. All right, we got it. I'm just gonna sit around 2 bar or so. I'm gonna go up to 9. Sit there for a bit. I like kind of doing these half pumps because it gives me a little less loss of pressure. There we go, I'm going down to about 5 bar. And all right, we're done. So we have our shot now. We'll go ahead and sip it. Well, actually the difference is pretty big. The one with the Swarks basket gives you a lot more clarity and it has a lot more flavor separation and is a lot more balanced. This one is definitely texture forward. So if you really like those textured shots, then no need to switch out from the stock basket. But if you're wanting something a bit more, if you want to explore a bit, then the Swarks one is a good one to kind of consider. And I've found that the shower screen from Swarks is a bit more effective in even distribution of water over the puck. Now, of course, you can use a paper filter on the bottom of your puck in order to somewhat replicate the benefits of using these more expensive baskets, but what I've found is that the benefit is not as big as it is on the 58 millimeter basket, and I think some of that is because of the less in diameter and deepened puck. The filtered paper is also good at filtering out a lot of the astringent compounds. As we know, astringency comes from astringent compounds that are making it into the final cup. longer you're adding pressure, the more that flow is going through a shattered puck, the more compounds will get set free. So using something like that is going to help you take away some of it, though it will require you to dial in a bit more finely if you are married to a very specific style ratio, which I don't necessarily think you should be, but a lot of people seem to think they need a certain time, they need a certain ratio, when in reality, you should probably just play around with different things. If this is something that you enjoy making coffee on, you don't mind the workflow, it's in your budget range and you're happy with it, then I think that it would be worth maybe saving up and going for that basket and screen combo if you're into lighter roasted coffees. If you're into darker stuff, I would not even fret with it. I would just stick with what's stock. I would still recommend the pressure gauge. The stand I think you could go with or without. I think that's just more of a quality of life thing. As far as the mirror goes, it's pretty nice. I find myself not really ever looking at it. I kind of just wait until I see a drop when I'm sitting there. You can kind of see that in the corner of your eye, and then I can slow down the pressure build or something like that. As far as the Tamper from Swarks, I really like it. Obviously, this is just like a little bit of extra zhuzh that you don't really need. The Tamper that comes with a Wacaco is really high quality as well, so no need to upgrade that. I think this is a fantastic option for people who really want to budget espresso maker and can rival other machines with similar basket sizes. So that means, you know, something like the Flare Neo, the Flare Pro 2, and things like that. I would love to hear your thoughts on this below because I think it's a really interesting situation in the coffee world that we really haven't had before. Something that has been making a name for itself as the most portable espresso maker, now kind of vying for a spot on your home bar. What do you think about that? But in the meantime, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the work I put into these videos. I have a Patreon that we do a lot of fun giveaways through competitions where this will be going to someone with the whole setup. We have a Discord connected to it. I do a lot of lives on my second YouTube account for just my Patreon. So if you're interested in supporting my work, you can check all that out in the caption below. But anyway, until next time, I hope that you brew something tasty, and cheers.